UniPod, the podcast for all things management software.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to UniPod, the podcast for all things management software. Today, we have a very special guest, Mark Tenney, and I'm very excited that you are going to meet him. So, Mark, pleasure to have you here. Please just go ahead, introduce yourself, and tell us a little bit more about how you got into the management software world.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here. I'm Mark Tenney. I'm one of the co-founders of Swish. We are a pickleball and racket sports software. Swish does a variety of things. Three of the main areas of focus would be recreational sports, so organizing pickleball in the community, joining games with other players. We also do tournament management, running a pickleball or a tennis tournament, a large organized event. And then we do club software as well. So if you're a club manager or owner at a racket club, we have software features for that. So a few different angles. It's an exciting time to be in pickleball and racket sports software. And we started over 5 years ago. I'm from California, and it's a big tennis population. So I grew up playing tennis, my whole family as well. Around the time that kind of COVID hit, 5 years and change, we put in a pickleball court in a nearby property and started playing pickleball during the pandemic. Fell in love with it. Still play a lot of tennis and other racket sports, but jumped right into pickleball and knew that there's going to be a need for some software, some technology to help facilitate different parts of this sport. And it's grown from there. So that was the seed that was planted over 5 years ago. We immediately hit the chalkboard and drew up some designs, and fast forward, now here we are, still with a long ways to go, but a growing company and a fun industry.
So just so everybody's just so everybody is clear with pickleball, it's like a small version of tennis, or can you?
Sure. Let's say it's in between tennis and table tennis.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
that's the easiest way to put it. Yeah.
But it's a game outside. It's not like inside of a club
Yeah,
or
so well,
something.
it's played both. It's like tennis, you have regions where it rains a lot, it snows a lot, and so just like if you were to join a racket club, you might have indoor tennis courts or outdoor tennis courts. The same thing with pickleball, and so and we work with all racket clubs. There's a few hundred clubs who offer tennis, pickleball, badminton, table tennis, right, all in one. It's very common that you'll find multiple different racket sports at a facility. So we deal with a variety of sports.
And your software helps to manage all these racket clubs, not only the pickleball.
Yeah, that's correct. There's a lot of similarities between them all, right? Singles versus doubles. If you want to join a tournament, right, you can do a round robin tournament. You could do an elimination bracket tournament. And it's very similar across these different racket sports, which is nice.
So it's interesting how this verticalization evolved for me, because from what I hear, all the management software are getting more and more specific with the verticals. And here you have like a few together. So was it like that from the start, or did you start with pickleball and then like extended to other similar sports? How did that evolve?
Yeah, that's a great question. We always knew that this would be used for a variety of different sports. I play a lot of different sports, and so I wanted the software company I was starting to be able to work for a variety of sports. I would kind of describe our specialization within a vertical as follows. Instead of trying to tackle all sports, basketball, volleyball, soccer, tennis, we chose racket sports. And very quickly in the company, we decided to even focus only on pickleball. There was a time when that's all we focused on, and that helped a lot, right? It's better to I would say it's better to go deep in one area and then branch out rather than try and cast your net wide from the start. So we stuck to racket sports, and we even committed to just pickleball for a while. And we still call ourselves a pickleball company, right? From time to time, even though it's used in other stuff. That's still our biggest sport, and I think forever will be. And I love it. It's really fun. But we stayed in that vein for a while, really making sure that we mastered the sport and the needs of the players and the clubs and the culture, right? The lingo, everything about pickleball. We specialized in that. And then it was easier to kind of figure out what the similarities are between pickleball and tennis, pickleball and paddle and badminton and other things, and expand from there. And we're still racket sports, right? We're not trying to do it all at once, but that's how our journey has been.
I think that's a really interesting point because I hear this specification happening more and more, but then the question that comes up immediately is, isn't that too small of a niche, or isn't that too specific that you don't have enough pickleball clubs to serve? And especially as a software company, you really want to be able to scale and reach as many companies as possible. So it's nice to hear how you started from being specific, and in under 5 years you were already able, like, how long did it take you to already expand to similar verticals?
Yeah, that's a great question. So in our company's life cycle, I would say the first 2 years even was a lot of just building out the core features. In hindsight, everything's easy in hindsight. I would have been a lot more iterative and just gotten to market faster with a worse product because it's just valuable once you put it in people's hands. But anyways, that's all in the past. So it took us a while to launch and get it out there. And then we stayed pickleball only, as I mentioned, for a few years. And then I would say year 4 is where we had grown quite a bit in pickleball, and that was growing a lot organically. The sport itself was just growing, right? There's new pickleball clubs every single week throughout the United States and the world, really. So it took some discipline, but we stayed focused on that one sport. And then after about 4 years, it kind of branched out into other racket sports. And I would say that that comes organically. It didn't start branching out because we chose to focus on other sports as well. It's very organic when you start branching into other verticals. If you try and force it or chase it too early, I think that's where you run into problems. That's the timeline it took for us. For other industries, it might be sooner, it might be longer that you have to wait before you branch out.
Okay, that's interesting. I'll get to that point later. But first, can you tell us more about your market? Are you addressing only the US? Are you a global software? Where do people play pickleball? Where is it more common? Where people play, I don't know, tennis or other racket sports? So take us through your market observation.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. And it depends a little bit in terms of what features we offer. Let me start for fun on the recreational side of things. Sometimes we talk about the rec features a little bit less as a company, but it's a critical part of what we do. Recreationally, Swish is used in over 60 countries. People use it to organize games. And in fact, Israel is a very big hub for us in terms of recreational pickleball. There are a few
Really?
thousand players who are actively using Swish right now in Israel. And at any given moment, we can check the map and there are active users throughout the country, which is really cool. We have them all over. We have them in Northeast Asia, Southeast Asia, Australia, lots of Central America, and then obviously the United States is our biggest hub. That's where we're based. That's where pickleball is the biggest. So people use it recreationally. If you have a community of 50 players, like a good example is a neighborhood of friends. They have neighborhood, pickleball courts in their homeowners association. They'll all join a group, a private group in Swish, and use the app to organize Friday pickleball play. Who from the neighborhood is going to play Saturday night? They'll even do little games where they keep score, right? Have a leaderboard and everything like that. So we see tons of different applications, but recreationally, it's used all over. And our market is anyone. Our market is a group of 4 people in their backyard, or our market is a community of people in a large city, like New York, a group of 10,000 players. So that recreationally, the whole thing. In terms of more some of our, I guess from the software perspective, our B2B features, the target market is a club, right? Or someone who hosts tournaments or leagues. So if you belong to a country club, it might have a golf course, a swimming pool, and tennis courts, and pickleball courts, and badminton, right? All these things that are offered. That club would license our software to run events for their members, to run leagues, to run tournaments, competitions, and everything alike. So on the B2B software side of things, our target market is a lot more identifiable. It's typically a club, usually for profit, sometimes non for profit, that has a membership and is using our software to organize events for their club members.
So is it it's a B2B, but also a B2C software, or
There's
or
both. Yeah. We have
is
different features that you can use, so we have a free level tier that anyone can download Swish and use Swish to organized games. A lot of our advanced features like integrations and tournaments and skill ratings and leagues, a lot of those are for what we would call like our club software package. So different applications of it.
Okay, so if you already started, talking about the pricing and the pricing tiers, so can you tell us a little bit more about that, what you experimented there, what you discovered, why you decided to have a free version? Is it helping you in sales? Anything that we can learn about pricing a management software?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So on the recreational side of things, having a free rec version of the app is great. Even though we're not charging, we want to keep that free, right? And that's great. It just helps grow the brand. It helps and it's fun. It grows the sport, it grows the community. Oftentimes someone will play in a recreational game with their friend and they invite two other friends, and one of those people who was invited also works at a club, and so they discover the app, right? So there's a lot of synergy from the business side, that there's value, even though we invest a lot in the software and to maintain it and it's free, but there is value there, and we're always going to keep it that way. And then specifically on the business side of things, when it comes to pricing, we did a lot of user feedback and kind of testing just the demand and the pain points that the software is fixing to come up with our price points. And we try to be on the lower end of really club software, but you can go to our website. Our pricing is all on there. Most of our packages range from 85 to 125 US dollars a month, but you can go to our website. That's public, and we want anyone to go and look and see it. We have broken down the different advanced tiers that you can access as a club owner who wants to license our software. So there's even some more basic club features that are closer to kind of the 50 US dollar range a month. So yeah, it's evolved, and we've built features out for years to get to this point. Now it's a little bit more mature and you can access it all. But we definitely had to be patient to make sure that we're providing great value to our clubs, but also, being, covering all of our software costs so we can keep building and keep iterating and providing good functionality.
Yeah, that's nice. I mean, being transparent with your pricing is, I think, very common in the software world.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also, I don't know. I mean, the question is it difficult? And was it possible from the beginning to be transparent with your pricing? Or is it something that you need to like test first, or start with, book a call and then we talk to you and then we see, or
Yeah, that's a great question. We tried to get our pricing transparent as soon as we could. It wasn't from day one. So we definitely, and I think as a software company, or with any company, right, your early adopters, there will be little, favors that you want to do for them and offer them because they invest so much in you and they help you and they grow. But as quickly as we could, we got our pricing public and transparent so that everyone could see it. Everyone could pick the pricing plan that made the most sense for them. Like with all things, we had to experiment and just, what do you value this at, right? And test in a few different ways. And we did a lot of that, which is nice, before we actually launched our product. To the extent that you can figure out the value of something before you go to market, it's even better. That's one of the reasons we were able to have our pricing very close to kind of the launch public, is we wanted that. We were aiming to find good price points, something that offers value, and that was our plan.
how were you able to test that before you launched the product? Was it like a beta version or early adopters version,
Mm-hmm.
something like that?
Yeah, we had a beta that definitely helped. And then we would do, one of our team members is very great at just kind of qualitative research. So we would design our surveys. I mean, it's hard, right? There's the old adage, garbage in, garbage out. Like, you have to make sure that if you do surveys, people aren't just telling you what they think you want to hear. So we did a lot of like interviews with clubs, and we would look at softwares in other industries, right? So maybe in soccer, right? Soccer league tournament management, something that's not racket sports. That was a really helpful thing, is if you have a similar industry, but that's non-competing, that's a good way to kind of evaluate your early price point. So we did a lot of that as well.
Would you prefer a soccer to compare yourself to a soccer software and not like a different racket software?
Yeah, that's a good question. There are two reasons to that. I should say as well that we did look at some racket software, but the two main reasons are, and we looked at more than soccer. We looked at all sports. Soccer obviously has a huge presence internationally. It's huge as well, so that was helpful. But one of the other reasons is Swish kind of pioneered a lot of software in some of these racket sports. Some of our software partners are much older than we are in the racket sports space, but specific to the features that we offer clubs, such as ladders and leagues and club programming and doing all of this in an automated way, we were kind of breaking ground compared to our some of our competitors. So because of that, we couldn't just look right and left and find an easy comparison. It's like we were kind of one of the first ones. So it was a little bit harder, narrowing in on that. But anyways, yeah.
Okay, nice. Okay, so you were like first to come to the market and really make it. And did it like change over the years? Did you see like other racket software going along, following you?
Yeah, for the most part, like any industry, and I still say I think we haven't even hit not even half the amount of just software options, niches within pickleball and racket sports. That the industry is still growing so fast that it's like the amount of data that we have to kind of look back and study is just so small. I mean, most
Mhm.
people heard about pickleball within the last 4 or 5 years. That's very, very young, right, for a sports industry. So at the same time, it's like I'm trying to recognize that to compare ourselves to other sports is on, some of them have been mature, industries for decades. So I just think it'll be more exciting to even try and look to the past data like 5 years from now, because we're going to know so much more because it's such a young sport. So
So you're creating history at the moment. You're writing the
the whole
history.
industry is we are a little tiny nugget, in the
Yeah.
history. We're definitely a nugget, but we're part of it and we're excited to be part of it. But the sport and the industry itself is historical.
All of the co-founders are like excited about racket sports, or is it like your job and to bring the ideas and the excitement about it, and everyone else has like complementary,
Sure, yeah. I manage a lot of the products, not all of it, but I manage a lot of the products. So I bring a lot of the ideas and the excitement around the racket sports. One of my co-founders is also a big racket sports enthusiast. But we have team members, a lot of them in the US. Most of them play pickleball and tennis. Some of them don't. We have international team members because Swish is growing. We have team members in Asia who had never heard of racket sports, but now have learned. We have team members. Throughout, a lot in Uzbekistan, other places, and they've never played pickleball before. So we have a variety of everything on our team, and it makes it fun.
yeah, sure, I'm sure. Wow, I never heard about pickleball before this conversation, but it sure is exciting, and I'm really surprised that there are also players in Israel. I never heard about it. So it's fun to learn, something new about it. Cool. So let's talk a little bit about marketing. You said that you have this free version, and I'm sure this contributes to your marketing strategy to reach a lot of players and maybe spread the word about your brand. But what else is in your marketing kit for other management software founders that you
Yeah,
can tell
great,
us
great
about?
question. Where to start? We are still trying to nail our marketing, so I don't profess to have any secret knowledge really to tap into on that sense. But I think the two things that I would speak to are, one, just uh, let your product and your team sell itself, right? We tried to really listen to our customers very intently, even when it's hard to listen. It's hard to listen when you feel like you put everything into your product and to deliver something good, and all people have is negative feedback. Here's how you could improve. So as a founder, that's hard sometimes, right? Because you put everything into launching and then you just have to kind of suck it up and listen to the harsh criticism and get better. So that's one thing, is if you can do that, if you can have the confidence to do that, you'll create a much better product that'll sell itself. And then the other thing that I would just say is just hustle. There's no excuse. We traveled. I mean, my wife and I were still in college. We were finishing college, and we would pack up a suitcase every Friday, go to the airport. Sometimes we'd fly to two different cities. Sometimes we would stay together and we would show up and we would go to every single pickleball club in that city. We'd host a tournament, we'd fly back Sunday night, and then we'd go to school the next day. And we did that, and we went to 14 different cities and the weekend in 3 months. So it was
What?
exhausting. Um, and that, other people, other founders do similar things, right? But it's just what it takes, and you just can't substitute that. That's one of the things that launched our product more than anything. So it's, just do it. How badly do you want it? It hurts, but you recover, and it helped us a lot. So now it's a fun story that don't want to replicate, but I'm glad we did it. So
No, I mean, that's super interesting. In a digitalized world, you really like flew to other cities to see and to talk to face with other pickle. I mean, I heard things like that, but it's not super common. I think that it's, very difficult to invest so much in something that you don't even know if it will succeed, especially if you're a student. And but I'm interested more in how you got your wife into doing this together with you.
yeah, yeah.
My husband is also a founder, and sometimes we do like I do need to do some things, but this is something I never like thought about.
Sure. Well, she's the real hero, the real founder. Any supportive spouse of a founder knows all credit goes to her. I mean, it's not been easy, but it has been more fun. But she's very active and athletic, and has picked up tennis and pickleball, and so it's fun. We have a baby girl now as well, so that the family is growing, and it makes it all meaningful, right? That's why we do it. That's what it's all about. Is being good community members, raising a good family, being good people. That's the motivation behind being a founder. Create something that you love so you can provide for a family and help people who are in need. So I think it makes it all worth it, right?
That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, so you let's talk a little bit about, let's see what's next. Okay, so let's talk about what do you think makes the difference between good management software and industry leading management software.
That's a great question.
And when I say management
Trying to
software,
think,
I
yeah.
mean any software that helps clubs like yoga clubs, I don't know, even like after school activities clubs, or even in different verticals, like, or helps clinics, or helps gyms, or helps like nurseries to manage their business. So it can be in like
Yeah.
every vertical.
Every vertical? Yeah, that's a great question. And we've observed companies in adjacent verticals. We've done integrations with other companies. So thinking about it just at large management software, I can borrow from some things that I've observed from other companies that have really been great. One thing that I think is kind of an art is a good onboarding process. I think that a lot of management softwares, making sure that you nail the first moments, training a new client on how to use it, making sure that your team is helping them succeed in the first moments. I do think it's more of an art than a science, onboarding new people, and first impressions matter. So when someone is taking a chance with you and using your software, make sure that you nail those first moments, because that'll build trust that'll last through the whole relationship. Even if they encounter issues or problems later on, they'll remember the good start that they had. So that's one of the things, is a good team to onboard. Trying to think
Do you
what else.
remember a specific mistake or something that went wrong with your onboarding at the beginning and that you had to iterate and you learned from and you implemented later?
Certainly. Let me think of one example. We have many. We learn from our mistakes, so without being too specific. So one good example is, and this club isn't too far from where we are. We had a new feature that we were launching, and this club was excited to use it, and they had like a big event around using this new feature, which was exciting, and for a variety of reasons, some of them just being sometimes software takes longer than you think, right? This feature came out and was delivered after they had done their big event that they had planned around. So the mismatch in timing there, And this new feature was one of the main reasons this club was joining with us, is they were excited that we were offering this as part of our software package. So immediate, that did not go so well. So instead of just kind of giving up and saying, well, they're going to take off, that was, that was a field try. We reached out to them and we set up a call and said, we understand if you don't want to keep utilizing this software, but here's the feature. Now it's been delivered. We want you to use it and we want you to give us feedback, and whatever 3 things you say about this is what I like about how you built it, this is what I want you to change, we're going to do them. We've saved our developers to listen to what you have to say. And so you tell us if it's good, what needs tweaking, and we're going to do it. And they were a little bit blown away that it's like, wow, like I get to tell you what to do and you're going to just do it. And so it was just interesting that they didn't want perfection from us. What they wanted is they wanted to know that their voice was being heard, and that, when things don't go perfectly well, that we're the first ones to reach out to them explaining, how can we do better? This is what we're doing to fix the problem. So anyways, that was a good learning experience. People, they don't expect perfection, but they want to see how you react when you make a mistake and, try and help them out.
Interesting. So like it sounds trivial, but it's not to prefer communication and transparency over perfectionism. So I think that's a great lesson. It's very difficult maybe as a founder to admit that something went wrong, or with mistakes, especially with a new client. But it sounds from your story like it's not as bad as you can imagine, and that people understand and much more appreciate that than having troubles later and not knowing what happened.
Certainly.
Okay. What role do integrations play in your product strategy?
Oh, great question. A huge role. So we just launched an integration maybe a half year ago, a few months ago, with kind of what I would call adjacent software in club management, racket sport management. So it's difficult. Yeah. So we did integrations with software partners. A good example would be, and this is going to be oversimplified, but there are software providers who have a good point of sale, right? Like a court booking system for racket clubs, where players can go and register to sign up for club events, right? So every club has a point of sale system, right? And at Swish, we don't do point of sale. Rather, we take lists of players and enter them into a tournament or league, right? Or other pickleball, tennis features and everything. So we did an integration where we can now, receive the data from a point of sale. So it's all automated. That's been huge and critical. And one of the interesting things about integrations is that your relationship with the software that you're integrating with is the software itself, the integration that makes all the data align and everything. That's just time. It just, you put developers on the project, and with time, it'll happen. I don't mean that to undermine developers. They're unbelievably talented how they make it all work. But what I'm getting at is, integrations, successful integrations are hard, not because, it's hard to make the data flow, because it takes a lot of effort and it takes time to build relationships with other people and to actually make it happen. It takes both of you, we have a million things that we would want to build for our very next feature. And every software has to decide what gets the most priority. And so finding multiple companies who all agree that an integration deserves their time and their opportunity cost, and then building it and seeing it succeed together, right? That only happens when there is like good friendship and trust between the founders of each company to make it happen. So anyways, that's just one of the things that I've learned, is your relationships and, with your partners, with your competitors, with everyone, right? Just being a good player, it makes all the difference, because relationships will be the foundation for integrations. So yeah, the software is the flashy part, the cool part that makes it all happen. It's integrated, data passes from one company to another, but there's a relationship behind every integration that had to come first.
Why did you decide to do this with an external third-party integration and not like do it yourself?
Great question. Simply because we hinted at specialization earlier, right? And focusing on, why focus on pickleball and racket sports, kind of a little bit in general. Same exact thing. Specialization is in software. As long as the the industry, the market is big enough, which pickleball is exploding, not to mention racket sports at large. Specialization has been key for us. We're focusing on what we're doing, and we're not looking left or right. We're focusing on our product offering and integrating with anyone who does things we will never have time to do.
Okay. So do you have payments anywhere in your flow? So you have the clubs, which are your users of the
Mhm.
software, right? They pay you, but the people that join the club, do they have like a payment flow through your software?
Great question. We do have some payments integrated in our software. We have some of those features within a club, and it's a bit hard to kind of explain and do it justice, even just on, one conversation here. Within clubs, I would say more often than not, we're relying on one of our API partners to provide some of those payment and point of sale and other features. And then we just integrate with them. So we've had great successful integrations on that side of things. A good example of payment applications with Swish would be if you want to organize a tournament. Let's pick an easy example. A lot of people will host a tournament in their community to raise money for like a charitable organization. So they'll say, come and pay $50. You're going to play in a tournament. There will be prizes. It's going to be, an all day event, very fun. They'll get 200 people to show up. You can use Swish almost as like an off the shelf product, right? A la carte. I want to use Swish's tournament feature for just one day. I want to turn on the payment integration so Swish can have all of the players register. It'll collect and process the payment for me. It'll organize the whole tournament. It'll do the scoring, show me who the winner is. So that's just one practical example. We do have those features. We also rely on our API partners to provide those features in a lot of sense.
Okay. Do you see payments as an critical feature for the stickiness of your software, or is it something that is nice to have and you started without it and it's okay to just leave it aside?
Yeah, good question. Well, our API partners, like I would say, we could look to some other companies as a better example than Swish even. But I think that, a lot of the API partners that I've talked with probably say payments is very helpful. I think it's a sticky feature. I think it helps with retention. So other companies would have more to say on that than me. Even we observe a lot of other companies we work with who are very impressive. So I have limited advice, but yes, I would say payment is a great integration. It's been great for us. We have some payments integrated, and yeah, it's very helpful.
Okay. Cool. So let's talk a little bit about challenges and lessons along your way. If you can share with us a challenge that you're dealing with right now, whether commercial, technical, organizational, marketing, teamwork, whatever it is that is keeping an eye,
Yeah, absolutely. Where to start? There are so many, so that's a long list, right? We're always always working on things. One interesting, I'll choose kind of on the marketing side of things, right? 'Cause marketing is just it can be tough. So one of the things that we're working on right now, very transparently that we're trying to solve for is we feel like we don't always do the best job of communicating to our clients all of the features that are available to them and all the value that is available to them and making sure they're capturing that to get the most on their return. They're paying for Swish, and obviously they pay for Swish. We have our transparent pricing, but the goal is that it's an investment that returns much, much greater revenue to their club, to their business because of what we enable them to do. But if a client is only taking advantage of 20% of the features that we have to offer, one, we might lose that client, right? If they're not super certain of the value, that's not good for us. And two, they are trying to do, several other features and they're struggling to do it because they just don't know that Swish has a feature to solve that. Does that make sense? So, and it's tough because so we email them, but how do we make sure that email gets into the hands of the person at their organization who needs to see it most, right? And we do webinars, and we do them live, and so we're working on this is just our marketing strategy is how do we leverage a mixture between our email and communication channels, our social media, our webinars to make sure that we're communicating all the value that there is to our clients. So that's something that keeps us awake. And I know we can do better about that as a company is making sure all of our clients are using all of the features that, you know, that's a problem if you spend a lot of money building software and you don't actually, then go the extra mile to get that new feature in the hands of users to use it. So, um, anyways, that's something we're working on.
Yeah,
It's
I
been
think
tough.
that's a really interesting point, especially in marketing, because sometimes marketing is so focused on acquisition and new clients, new clubs, new revenue, that the existing customers sometimes don't get all the attention. And like you say, it can affect churn, it can affect the retention, the
Yeah.
stickiness, and you really want to keep them, I would say, educated.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's a tough challenge. Also because you need to balance between these two, let's say, marketing strategies and the adoption versus
Yeah.
acquisition, let's say. But also marketing is in general, I would say, is difficult, challenging,
Yeah.
or and it's getting newer and newer and evolving all the time because people's attention is like very short, very limited. They
Yeah.
have so much to do, everything's on their plate, and yeah, so especially with social media and everything. So
Yeah.
um, yeah, not definitely not easy. I'm sure you don't have like a magic trick that you can share with us, but even just sharing your challenge with listeners and other founders, I think that is, and making sure that you focus on both things and like paying attention to these two challenges. I think that's already like a good direction and something that you can
Yeah.
learn. Yeah.
We hope so.
Yeah. Okay, so we're towards the end, and there's like an inspiring question I like to ask
Hmm.
that you need your imagination for. So if you had
Great.
double the budget tomorrow morning, what's the first thing you'd invest in?
The first thing. Well, that is such a good question.
You can take your time.
Yeah, let me take
You
my
can
time
think
to think.
about it.
It's such a great question because I could tell you five things, but if the first thing is interesting.
You already have the five short list, your top five.
Yeah, so it'd be a balance between just, maybe increasing our software team, our developer team, just putting it in towards marketing, right? Scale, customer acquisition, growing some of our customer support teams, potentially some of the software that we pay for, just increasing our skill there. There's a lot of different things.
But tell me more about the team. Why do you, especially today, with all the AI and these
Hmm.
trends, it seems like people can do more with less, and there's like a trend of hiring less because you can do more with yourself.
Yeah.
So why are the teams the first thing that came to your mind?
Yeah, good question. Certainly, I mean, our team and a lot of our engineers, they utilize a lot of the AI resources. So
Mhm.
efficiency has certainly gone up. It's a little bit of a buzzword to say like our company uses AI, right? What does that really mean? How effectively are you using it? So when I think growing our team, I mean it in the sense of like if we had double the budget, I would bring on probably more team members, much more than we even need than for our capacity of clients and growth, and just get ahead of that growth. Because I know we're going to fill it. Our company is growing healthily. The industry, pickleball, the sport, is growing so fast that I know that the growth is there if we just grow our team. And a lot of jobs just can't be replaced by a human, right? We offer a lot of training and a lot of support to our clubs, and they like being on Zoom, you know, face to face with another human, and that part is never going to change. So yes, we're always scaling and becoming more efficient, but a lot of our team members and every asset are they're critical. So that's what I'm thinking is like if we had double the budget, we could get ahead of the growth and then grow so much faster instead of trying to be at a healthy pace where we're managing all of our parts. I would just get our infrastructure twice the size and then grow into it, right? So that's probably what I would say is grow our team, have our infrastructure and our capacity bigger than we can even fill, because then we can just run with it.
I really like this, humanity point of view, let's call it. I think that humans still like talking to humans, and having this real customer success team that really has the capacity to talk to the customers, and that's something really valuable, especially today. So I think that's a great point to emphasize. And yeah, I think that's also a great point to like say goodbye. I really liked talking to you, Mark, and I think you had some fantastic points and insights and tips
Thank
and
you.
inspiration to share with our audience. So I really, really appreciate your time, and I hope you also enjoyed from Unipod.
It was a
And
pleasure.
yeah,
Thank you so much for having me. Great experience. I appreciate the opportunity to talk about software. So thank you very much.
thank you.